Hey, welcome to the Generation Podcast. We're here with Studio G with A-Aron'sd.
Hello.
So now A-Aron'sd is officially a stand-up comic.
Not quite, but...
Hey, you do it once, man. It doesn't mean you're a good one. It just means that you're a stand-up now.
Yeah, I think, and I once again forgot to put my phone on silent. Thank you for reminding me.
There's no silencing A-Aron'sd's many suitors.
Yeah, thank you. No, I don't have a lot of suitors, so it's not put it that way.
So, what did it feel like to be up there on the mic?
Yeah, first of all, I would not consider myself a stand-up at all.
Yeah.
I think that it was really, really difficult to finally take that step and get up there. So... Basically, I can take you like from the top, I guess.
Yeah. Totally.
So I had been aware of this spot for a while, that they did open mics several nights a week, you know, with basically a whole range of comics there. So there was no one else that I could tell it was their first time. So and a few people after I got off said, and I'm jumping around a little bit, but a few people after I got off said that they couldn't tell it was my first time. They said they could tell I was new to it, but they wouldn't have had any idea it was my first time. Probably just something that open micers say to each other to be nice. I mean, it wasn't like competitive.
No, they avoid each other if they don't like the set.
So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't avoided by everybody after, so that was good. But you get there... You go up to the guy with the weirdest hair who seems to always be the guy who organizes it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it's like a Mexican...
So it's just like crashing. Yeah.
It reminded me... Yeah, it was just like crashing, basically,
hair, yeah.
Which I think I told you was on the podcast last time. Was like a big reason, actually, why I took this step. So it was just... I really liked that show, and it kind of spoke to me, and I've been thinking about doing this for years, and I went with... what I thought was 7 minutes worth of material.
Yeah.
So after waiting like about 2 hours to get onto the stage, felt like forever, but like a couple hours, I finally got on. I thought I had about 7 minutes of material. Turned out it was 4. Which
that's better though.
Was even better. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, for my first time, I mean, I knew that like when you're in public, you're gonna talk a little quicker. So, I really planned it out. There was a couple awkward silences. I had a couple, I think I overfucked, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I just used a lot of fucking and I was trying so hard to appear relaxed that I was probably quite opposite of relaxed. I was probably really hyper and needy. And
hey, like, a comic being needy is a common thing.
Yeah, so, like, overall, I didn't really notice the acts before me. Honestly, it was kind of just like a whoosh of, like, I was just counting down. I knew how many people were in front of me, so I'm like, that's 19, that's 20. I got up there. A few of the jokes I used, I've been writing and thinking about saying for, like, 3 years or so. I feel like overall I got some good laughs, and I also knew before that like the more you do it, it's something you have to get up there to get better at. Yeah. I saw it way clearer afterwards that I needed to get back up there. So I was going to go to yesterday, Wednesday, didn't end up going, ended up watching the MSU game, which is a terrible.
You can record that shit, right?
Yeah, I could have recorded it, and I am planning to go tonight. So there's an open mic tonight, and I am planning to go. So my goal is to get to the point where I'm getting up there 5 to 6 times a week.
Oh shit, that's great, man.
You know, that's my eventual goal because I think that's the only way I can get to the next level, which is my own. I really want to get really good at this if I'm going to try to do it.
Yeah.
So, and the only way is to get up there and keep doing sets. Afterwards, there was a ventriloquist act who was like amazing. Like, yeah.
Not like that Jeff Dunham guy, but...
Yeah, well, I like Jeff Dunham, so, I mean...
You love him.
No, I mean, I don't, but, like, I thought it was real, I thought this guy was really talented, and there was like a few others that really, really impressed me, and not everybody was the most friendly for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean they're comics. So
yeah, like it was like my first day of school. There's some of these people have been to open. This is their 600th open mic. They're like, I didn't really put it together, but there are comics that never become anything but open micers and keep doing that. And there's nothing that an open mic will be like, oh, you can't keep going. They'll keep so it's like,
yeah, of course.
And
they might give him a shitty slot.
Well, I mean, no one has a great slot on an open mic. I mean, you just,
depends.
It depends on the open mic, I guess. But
they make more money when there's like 20-something comics.
Yeah, it's true. But it was overall, it was definitely eye-opening experience. I will be getting back up there. Thank you, Wendy, for the sweet Facebook message. She reached out to me.
She's fucking
We're
awesome,
Facebook
man.
official.
We're gonna when we wrap your stand-up stories, we're gonna bring in a special piece from Wendy.
Oh boy,
we got all sorts of stuff on the show.
This is a jam-packed episode. We're a little more clear-headed than last episode.
I was high.
Sorry, I got Andy way too high.
I was high.
Yeah, that's my bad. I
went
it's
bad
really
for like 20 minutes.
It's really amazing, like marijuana. And speaking of which, I'm gonna take a little hit here, but it's kind of amazing just the effect that it can have on two people, because it really put you kind of commission. So maybe you could talk a little bit about how you're feeling on Tuesday from what you remember.
Oh God, I only listened to half of it, but I was like, I thought I was fucked, and then I'm listening, and I'm like giggling, and I'm like, it was pretty good. And I was like, I don't remember that part. Exactly. I remember the pain of that day, and I remember the temporary relief for about 10-15 minutes where I felt great, and I was being really silly out back.
And then you remember getting, into kind of what is being high, where you kind of get inside your own head and you get real introspective.
That's the downside for someone like myself who can't get out of his head.
Well, like it's. I think what gets labeled as the paranoia with marijuana is it's not. I mean, for one, the things that are coming to your. I've found the things that come to my mind when I get stoned. If there's things that come to my mind I don't want to be thinking about, I probably really should be thinking about them, for one.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
like murder.
No, personal things that are sticking out in my, head that like I don't want to be thinking about.
Yeah.
That, it's like one of the reasons I think that marijuana is more popular than it is because when you smoke, you think about your problems, you think about your issues, you think about things. Mm-hmm. Much more, and that seems like such a pothead thing to say, but it literally stimulates your brain and causes you to become very introspective, really look inward on yourself.
Does it lead you to take action, or just kind of...
It depends on the person. I mean, for some people, it makes them very content. It makes them to where they can live in a complete pigsty and look at it and be like, this isn't so bad. And for some people, that could be bad. For some people, that could be really good. It could be what they need. But one thing is, it doesn't make you forget about your problems. It makes you think about your problems from a different angle and thinking about them more sometimes. And especially when you're new to it, you don't know exactly how to handle it. Then, like something like us smoking 3 bowls, which was a shitload of weed, and it's really good weed, and I put keef on top.
That was good.
I mean, it's like that's a lot for me, and I smoke a lot every day.
But I was already fucked up.
But yeah, and like you had, and like plenty of people will be like the worst time to get high or do whatever any drugs is when you have shit on your mind or had a shitty day,
or when you're.
It's not like drink. It's not like And the medication thing, I'm not even a professional, but I'm sure that. Overall, not the best idea, but at the same point with marijuana, you're not gonna die from it. It's just you're gonna have a bad podcast or whatever. Which I don't think it was a bad podcast.
Of course not. It was...
So, but you're gonna think you had a bad podcast because you're gonna be focusing on some faults or some things that you're not feeling too good about.
I feel.
But a lot of people who drink, that's why they aren't into smoking. When you drink, you can. I had a shit day. I'm gonna drink my problems away. That works. You forget shit. It's for a while.
Yeah,
it doesn't
and then you wake up and then you're like, I'm just hungover. I don't have problems. I'm just hungover.
Right, but like what I'm saying is like, in the process of getting drunker and drunker, you don't get more looking inward on yourself. You don't get more thinking about your issues. You forget everything. You become absent-minded. You become a drunk idiot.
Yeah.
Like when you smoke, the more and more you smoke, the more and more you're going to think unless you just fall asleep, but like for the most part, yeah, you're going to giggle. Yeah, you're going to like have those enjoyable parts. Yeah, you're going to get hungry, but you're also going to get to a point where you're thinking about something, where that was already on your mind, or you're looking at something, or your rough day, you're still aware you had a rough day. It's just not your high
rough day, rough week, rough month.
Rough
year,
however you want to feel about it. But and the other part, like, which I probably, got a little bit frustrated about was like where you're like, yeah, this didn't make everything better. When we were talking about it afterwards, I don't know if you're, but like,
yeah, I vaguely remember.
I was like, yeah, there is no magic strain that you're gonna smoke and then all that is a TV thing. That is as fake. So like this is actually gonna help me, I think.
Yeah.
That when they show like on like The Simpsons, for example, there was a Simpsons episode where he smokes and then all of a sudden he's seeing like rainbows.
Like Homer?
Homer smokes.
Did it have PCP in it?
No, it's weed. So Homer smokes weed, and again, I'm talking about how like. And and he starts shaving, and like then he's bleeding, and as he's bleeding, he's seeing like rainbows for blood coming out. I'm like that, and then he like gets in his car, and he thinks he's driving his car in the clouds. There's no amount of marijuana you can smoke that's gonna make you feel that way.
My friend said he hallucinated mermaids once, like on the road.
Well, that's amazing. By just smoking. By smoking pot.
Yeah, it might have been some fucked up stuff or something.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, he and I are like messed up, so.
But but like my point is that like again like whatever, it's not that specific example. That's not the so like take any show where they show people smoking weed for the most part, and like they turn into these like
like a Seth brainless thing.
Yeah, sure. So like. Anyways, my point has been derailed, but never mind.
No, it's not just a cure-all. Nothing's a cure.
No, that wasn't my point.
What was
at
point?
All? It's okay. Next subject. Next question.
Next subject. You want to hear Wendy's stuff?
Yeah. Let's transfer to Wendy's.
Fuck yeah, Wendy. The gift that keeps on giving. Her writing is fucking sharp.
This is a Wendy's piece. Wendy's original.
Wendy's piece. A Wendy's original, sponsored by Wendy's.
If they want to.
They want to. They just don't know it yet. They totally want it. They want it hard. They want it bad. Bow, 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 bow. Sorry, I'm scrolling down a little bit to get this hot shit.
So I'm going to see the movie Logan tomorrow.
Oh God, this looks awesome.
Yeah, are you a superhero?
I love superheroes.
Who's your favorite superhero?
Batman. Christopher Nolan Batman.
Okay, so yeah, let's go actually. Favorite superhero movie, which one?
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight? So that's I think that's a good amount of people's.
It's a masterpiece.
How much of that, though, do you think is because of Heath Ledger? Which kind of makes it not so much a Batman movie and more...
A strong amount.
Yeah, like you take Heath Ledger out of that...
Some might argue that he was the protagonist of that film.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I mean, I think that Heath Ledger performance is one of the best performances of all time in any movie.
He destroyed him, though.
And when people say that people like him more because he died, that is such bullshit. I think sometimes that happens where people become like heroes after they die. No, that was a great performance, and it's really unfortunate it killed him.
Yeah,
or whatever, you know. I mean, he obviously.
he probably had pre-existing drug issues, but
he had a history when he was dating one of the Olsen twins, I think, of pills, and then his wife at the time he died is Michelle Williams, who was just nominated for an Oscar with Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah.
Did you see Manchester by the Sea?
I did not.
Holy fucking depressing. You don't need to fucking see. It's horrible.
I won't watch it because
it's horrible.
I don't need stuff that's more depressing.
Okay.
Unless it's a show that I've already invested in, like Leftovers.
Yeah, so you do like Leftovers.
Leftovers.
Can I tell you a spoiler about Manchester?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Alright, spoiler alert. So, like, it's like, seriously, I think one of the most depressing movies I've seen maybe ever. It was fine. But, like, the overall, like, big twist that they're hiding in the movie is, like, so Casey Affleck, from Good Will Hunting. Did you see Good Will Hunting?
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, so the little guy in the back seat, Ben Affleck's
brother,
yeah. So he plays like this main guy. He's like this alcoholic who has nobody, and all of a sudden his brother has a heart attack, dies. He has to go back, becomes like the legal guardian of the 16-year-old kid back in his hometown. Like, and like everywhere they go, like people are like whispering and all this shit, and like it's like, oh, what did this guy do in the past that causes everybody to hate him? Anyways, turns out he got really drunk with a bunch of his friends, left the furnace on. The furnace burned up and lit his house on fire and killed his 2 daughters. And like, so this guy's just like, it's like, and like, so it's like depressing thing after depressing thing after depressing thing.
And you buy into this character, like, I hope he turns his life. He did what?
And at the end of the movie, it just kind of like ends. It doesn't like end on like a note where it's like, oh, the kid's doing better.
He becomes a furnace salesman.
He doesn't invest in a new furnace company. But anyways, Michelle Williams, Heath Ledger's wife, was like has a scene in there with Casey Affleck that if you don't watch the movie, you should watch that scene at some point. Just YouTube it. Michelle Williams. It's an amazing scene, but the movie was depressing as fuck. And I don't know why I brought that. Going way back here to Dark Knight. Yeah. So Dark Knight, I remember seeing that like at like midnight at the movie theater.
Too, yeah.
And I don't know about your movie theater, but the movie theater I went to, it was 20 theaters. All 20 were showing it at midnight. There was a line around the block. There was like, we were right outside East Lansing, so it was a ton of college students.
Yeah.
There was 20 theaters full of people.
Really?
Yes.
That's a goal, writing midnight. Something that you...
For a midnight
show.
It was incredible.
But you're not going to see that except for superheroes. Or if we write the Wendy biopic.
Obviously. I mean... But I remember, and then we'll get to Wendy's stuff here in a second. I remember when like superhero movies were a complete joke. Like it's like superhero movies used to be like what video game movies are now. So like when you see like an assassin,
like the Superman movie, Super Mario movie, that was terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Think about superhero movies back in like the early 90s, like the shitty Batman and Robin movie.
Oh god, with the bat nipples?
With the bat nipples and the badass cheeks.
I remember my hamster died, and then we went
But
to see
Alicia
Batman
Silverstone didn't have bat nipples. Batgirl didn't have bat nipples.
And why? I wanted to see those clueless bat nipples.
I mean, Alicia Silverstone is so hot.
She's beautiful.
Who's your like number one crush growing up, celebrity? I gotta think about this myself.
Growing up, number one?
Yeah.
I mean, it varied time to time.
Right. I guess in high school, for me, it was Tara Reid. So, this is American Pie. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Yeah, go back to American Pie. She was a classic blonde, absolutely beautiful. And I'm trying to think who else in high school would be another one of my crushes. Yeah. But
Lacey Chabert from Party of Five did for me. She was in Mean Girls as well.
Okay, later. Yeah. Mandy Moore, that was another one.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. See, I'm not a complete freak. But anyway, speaking of our crushes, let's hear what our girl Wendy had to say. Sorry about that.
This is called Start Your Engines, all right?
Okay, start your engines.
Start your engines. Vroom, vroom, vroom. I've always wanted to go to college. I know most girls have a tough time leaving their friends and parents and boyfriend behind, but the only person I talked to every day was my uncle. He took me in 3 years ago when my mom decided I would get in the way of her new career as a retired circus elephant rehabilitator. She moved to California and I stayed behind with her unmarried brother-in-law. He was a shift worker at the local potato chip factory, and I only saw him when I was eating my cereal in the morning and he was getting home from the night shift. I think he resented me for getting my dad's insurance money when he was killed by a runaway donkey basketball team. He never wanted me to have to worry about paying for school. He was the only one that really understood my passion for muscle cars and learning how they worked. I missed him every day. 6 hours after leaving Boise, I landed in Detroit. It only took a couple more to get my one suitcase and catch a bus to my new home. I had rented a furnished basement apartment online for a bargain because the owners were gone a lot on business, and they needed a stable person to house it. It was a 4-block walk to campus, and I couldn't wait for tomorrow's registration. My first month went by quickly, and I was loving all my new classes at this small community college. It was an overcast Tuesday night, and I was elbow deep in a 1964 Mustang 4.3-liter Windsor V8, our first hands-on lab, and I was lucky enough to have been chosen to work on this gorgeous 2-door fastback. Raw and in a primer, she would go for a professional paint job after we got her motor running. Almost all the other students were off to watch the Wayne State University football game against Grand Valley State. The only other person in the garage were my instructor and his daughter, Gemma. She shared her father's talent and wanted to rebuild classic cars in her own shop someday. I hadn't given my future any serious thought, but since we met 3 weeks ago, I began to dream of my own place, too. Snapping off a frayed belt, I took the old one to the workbench. Gemma was already there with Mr. Collins, and he had his coat in his arms. That looks like a good place to stop for the night. You two can still catch the late bus to the game, and I promised Big Joe I would stop by the auto supply salvage and pick up his muffler on the way home. Dad, you know I don't like football. I'm just going to stay here and keep working. Mom went to Taco Tuesday with all her work friends, so she won't miss me. I think this is going to lead to eroticism. What do you think?
I have no idea where this is going.
Who knows where Wendy is taking us?
Insane.
It's not safe for me to leave you here alone. What if you get hurt? How long have I been working with you? I know what I'm doing, argued Gemma. Tess and I aren't going to get hurt. Okay, but don't run any equipment, and lock the door when you leave. I'll be at Big Joe's pretty late. Okay, Dad, have fun watching the game. She gave him a quick hug and walked over to me at the workbench. Mr. Collins picked up his shoulder bag and shut the door behind him. The radio in the corner finished up playing Night Fever, and then the weather report started as I paged through a parts catalog looking for the replacement serpentine belt number. Sporadic light rain was on the way, but I'm sure it wasn't anything that would keep the football game from happening. ABBA's Take a Chance on Me began to play. Finding the right part number, I jotted it down on a post-it and grabbed the old belt and walked back to the parts rack in the back of the shop. Gemma followed me with a half-eaten peanut butter and honey sandwich in her hand. Usually the belts are on the back wall, but that might be a special order, she said. Yeah, I replied, but it's worth a shot to see if there's one back there. Okay, let me see what number you have. I went to hand her my note, and our fingers brushed against each other. I looked down into her blue eyes. She had frozen just as I had. Never in my life have I felt sparks of electricity run up my arms and down deep into my belly for another person. We must have stayed like that for a long time, because I could hear my heartbeat pounding in my ears, and I saw her breathing speed up. She had felt it too. The post-it fluttered to the floor. She gently took my hand again, and I could feel her fingertips softly moving back and forth on my palm. She stepped right in front of me, and my eyes went to her pale pink lips. I slowly leaned down and pressed mine against hers. A suppressed moan started to form in my throat as her mouth opened and her tongue timidly reached out to lick the inside of my bottom lip. My jaws naturally parted, and her kiss slowly deepened. I could feel the slippery insides of her cheeks as her tongue danced. She quietly moved back a step away from me, and I could still taste the sweet peanut butter flavor she had left behind. Her blue eyes had become darker, and her pale cheeks had a gorgeous, rosy complexion. Her breathing was still very fast as she set down her sandwich on the parts rack behind her, and she pulled off her Cookie Monster t-shirt over her head. Fucking awesome.
It's like I'm in the garage.
I know, man. I'm right there. Her small, round breasts were perfectly topped with tiny, erect nipples, and her creamy skin was a stark contrast to my dark hands as I reached out and cupped them. Her nipples hardened more as they slipped up and down between my spread fingers. Leaning forward, I began kissing her again, harder this time, and as our mouths fused together, our hands began rubbing each other's backs. I broke the kiss so I could unbutton my denim jacket, and my white lace camisole quickly followed it to the floor. Gemma reached around and opened my hooks, and my large dark breast clung to the white lace of my bra cuffs. She lifted her weight in her hands, and my bra fell on my feet as she started suckling at my left nipple. I leaned my head down as I took hers in my hands and smelled the delicious raspberry scent of her shampoo.
Not a raspberry fan, but that's okay.
Her hands become bold. You're a blackberry fan. Her hands become bolder as she twirled her tongue around both nipples in turn, and she peeled down my navy leggings. Her jeans quickly followed, and we lay down on her shed clothes and faded carpet of the storage floor. I went up on my knees and straddled her face as I spread her legs. I could feel her hands on my bottom as she pulled me to her mouth. I started to rub her pubic hair with my fingertips. And she opened for me. Jolts of pleasure were coursing through my body as I took my first taste of her. I followed her example as she sucked and penetrated me with first one, then 2 fingers, in a dizzying rhythmic motion. I was gently thrusting my hips and rocking over her as her moans became louder and more intense, building with the intensity and wetness of her tight pussies. I think I was the first to orgasm, but it could have been her. Seeing as I now had 3 fingers deep inside her, and I could feel the tight contractions around them as my own juice soaked her hand and tongue. I took a few seconds to catch my breath, and I gently rolled off her hot, sweaty body. I turned and laid next to her, and she wrapped her top arm around me, and we kissed, tasting our combined flavors. We sweetly kissed for a while more as we enjoyed each other's fading warmth. Suddenly she began giggling, and it was contagious, and we both were smiling and laughing and holding the other. We couldn't stop grinning like idiots as we sat up and put back on our clothes. The note and the old serpentine belt lay forgotten on the floor as she and I turned off the lights and locked the door and left holding each other's hands. That is romantic as fuck.
That was outstanding.
God damn, Wendy.
That was a magical ride.
I felt like that was visceral. I was in that garage.
Yeah, it's really that was really impressive. I can't imagine writing something like that.
My challenge to you now is to write erotica. And put it in your act.
Have you written erotica before?
I've written erotica.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read it on a previous episode. It was lumberjack erotica. So it's 2 lumberjacks. I mean, it was
Do you have
satirical.
anything else you'd be willing to read on here at some point?
Erotica or something
Just
that
whatever.
I brought with me?
Oh, perfect. This is just a jam-packed episode of content. Let's see. Let's find out if you brought it with me.
Shit.
Oh my God, Andy forgot something. That never happens. This is why we had to do our podcast on an iPhone last time.
Oh wait, no, I
Hold
have
on.
it.
He has it. 1 second, please.
Yeah, I got it somewhere. Oh, you got
I
a
have
call?
a
You got
phone
an incoming
call? Yeah, it's
super professional.
It's a phone call from Amber. She knows that there's a podcast going on right now.
Nice.
Let's see. Yeah.
Is
can't find my headphones, and she knows if I can't find my headphones, how am I supposed to?
Oh, yeah.
How am I supposed to answer? I want to know. How am I? You like that song? How do I live without you?
Alright.
Oh, we don't like it. Sorry.
I like that
Con Air. It's from Con Air.
Yeah,
What,
Con Air.
do you like the movie Con Air?
I did
Or
when
The
it
Rock?
came out, but I've probably
The
only
Rock?
seen it like once or twice.
Or The Rock?
No, I like The Rock.
The
Again,
Rock was
I don't
fantastic.
rewatch a lot of films unless they're comedies.
I
or
really
back
like
to feature.
90s action movies.
Hell yeah, man.
In late 80s, like Die Hard.
We're men, and women were men.
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry.
You ready for this shit?
I don't know
So,
if I am, but
I don't
we'll
think
find
you are.
out.
I wrote a piece. This was a short piece a few years ago that I wanted to turn into something longer, but it is so bleak that, and at the time I wasn't diagnosed with anything, and I was like afraid of going deeper in this world, and you'll see why. It's about a guy who.
Don't tell me anything. Just
Okay.
do it.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. This is an
This is a
Andy original.
This is an Andy original.
An AO. It's like the AO, like the OA. Great show. The AO. Go.
And this is this is a Valentine's Day diary of this character named Dan.
Oh, a little bit late, but that's fine.
That's right. I arise at 1:37 p.m. and eat a vigorous breakfast of Cinnamon Toast Crunch with Sailor Jerry's in place of milk. I also enjoy Captain Crunch berries with vodka. Sometimes if I let the soggy, vodka-laced berries soak in my mouth long enough until they dissolve like my once fervent optimism, I may even forget, just for a moment, that I lost my wife, my job, and pretty much my will to live. I had a stable, albeit stagnant job as a supply chain analyst at Procter & Gamble until my wife left me for a 32-year-old black personal trainer and I found out on Facebook. My job performance plummeted, culminating with my unceremonious shit-canning 2 weeks before Christmas. They didn't even give me a token invite to the company Christmas party, denying me a golden opportunity to drink myself to death on someone else's dime, those fuckers. Now I'm sucking on the soggy unemployment tit at a significant reduction from my former salary, the bulk of which goes to alimony, child support, and a portion of the mortgage on the house which my wife now owns. With a paltry remainder of my funds, I cover my core physiological needs. Industrial toilet paper to service both my excretory and cowardly masturbatory functions, and simple microwavable meal substitutes, deeply saturated in preservatives, and pay the rent for this shithole apartment, where I attempt in vain to numb myself with lean cuisines and bottom-shelf alcohol. I am woefully, irrevocably divorced. I've been watching an inordinate amount of black-on-white gangbang videos, as you can imagine. Also, cuckold videos. My only complaint with this particular breed of niche porn is that there isn't a split screen of the husband hard at work or otherwise engaged in an earnest activity, like perhaps at an antique store in the country, picking out wicker furniture that would remind his wife of her beloved deceased German grandmother, Bertilda. This would likely increase my ejaculatory PSI ratio by at least 17%, and perhaps even bring me closer to the memory of multi-erection days gone by, but beggars can't be choosers. In place of a hopeless online job search, I watched Never Been Kissed in its entirety. A marvelous film if you pretend you're a terrorist suspect in Guantanamo, and it's playing in the background as you're being relentlessly waterboarded, and you'll tell them what they want to hear if someone will just hurry up and kiss the bitch. Then I ate some cold, old Pizza Hut breadsticks I found in the back of my fridge from MLK weekend. Didn't even heat them up, just shoved them in my mouth, washed it down with the last dregs of the Sailor Jerry's bottle, and popped a Vicodin rectally. I used to want to own a sailboat. Sometimes I would even dream about it. I was a captain, Captain Dan, and with my family by my side. And the clouds, if present at all, were always fluffy and symmetrical, and my wife would drink sweet tea as we'd stare into an unfathomably vast horizon, overflowing with possibility, and talk about our future together. Now I'm rapidly expunging every minuscule fiber of remaining hope from my hollow soul, like a jolly homeless savage evacuating his bowels in an empty mall food court. Slathering my dormant, freckled penis with cocoa butter in the shower is the only visceral thrill I am capable of experiencing, on the rare occasion that I bathe, that is. After my candlelit dinner, unseasoned ramen, off-brand bologna, and half a jar of pickles, I built a giant heart out of stale Nella wafers. Then, overcome by the blistering totality of my lonely troll-like existence, I smashed it to bits with my fist till they turned raw. Momentarily pleased with myself, droplets of unfortunately HIV-negative blood trickling out of my furry knuckles, I took an Instagram of the smashed, bloody Nella crumbs, tossed a sparkly filter on it, then masturbated at the kitchen table, toggling between the wafer carnage Instagram and a romantic photo of my ex-wife and her very strong, very black lover, Malik Jones, which I pilfered from her home after installing a keylogger on her computer when I retrieved the last remnants of the shattered life I built with her. A life that I was proud of and treasured, despite my bouts with erectile dysfunction and her perpetual cutting disapproval of my floundering career path. I have two visceral recurring dreams every night. In the first, I'm being cuckolded by my wife, her black lover, and the 1992 Dream Team, except for Larry Bird, Chris Mullin, and Christian Laettner. Only the black players, and Chuck Daly blowing his whistle and scowling at me, and my wife's wearing their gold medals as they run a ferocious Olympic train on her, while I cut up orange slices for them and watch in mystical aroused horror. In a second dream, I'm the third child I always hoped I'd have. I wanted another son because I never had a brother growing up, except I've been burdened with my own adult memories and pangs of immeasurable failure. And regular me, Dan McElstein, is the near-future version of my father, and I'm suddenly aware that everything which once seemed possible to me now was simply an illusion, though I'm not yet prepared to accept it. I'm fighting it. I have to fight it. And ash falls from the sky. I run out to the mailbox crying. Ash covers the grass like fresh snow. Before long I know we'll be waiting in it. There is death everywhere. Everything dies and I know it. I'm just a little kid, but I know it. And my dad is divorced as shit. And running the mailbox hoping I'll find something there. I don't know what, a letter? Some decree from a higher power, a mandate to bring my family back together? To stop my mom from giving her sex to that smooth-faced dark man who calls me bro? I'm having trouble running. I keep losing my foothold in the ash. If I fall, I fear I'll sink down. And I'm hopeful there's something for me in the mailbox. And I'm hoping. But there's also dread, and the ash keeps raining down. I get to the mailbox and fling it open. I see me as my father in a dirty robe, watching me in the doorway. I stick my hand in the mailbox and it's filled with ash. I wiggle my hand around, sifting through the ash, afraid it will suck me in. Then I feel something cold, small, jagged. I pull it out, yank my hand out of the mailbox, slam it shut. I blow the ash off the object in my hand and cough. It's my mom's wedding ring. I close my hand around the ring. I glance back to see the front door shut. Then I lay down in a thick pile of ash in the street and cry. And then I wake up. Sometimes the order of the dream is reversed and I wake up stuck to my pants from the vicarious thrill of my cuckold dreamscape. This is my life every night, and each morning I pray for AIDS to overtake me. And every afternoon, as I begin to feel the full weight of another vexatious day of existence crushing down on me, I slither into the bathroom and part my hairy back with a comb in the mirror, desperately hunting for malignant tumors. I combed it twice a day, still nothing. Once again, my wants and desires are callously dismissed. My hairline recedes like perpetual low tide. My testes reduce their output. My virility vacated in mass like American manufacturing jobs. But the bodily decay I long for, the comforting finality of a terminal disease, continues to elude me. Somewhere inside me, though, lies the faint heartbeat of an old romantic. I used to kiss my pillow as a boy, pretending I was married to girls in the neighborhood. One of them gave me a hand job the day the Challenger exploded. All good things die. My handy was an aberration, an isolated departure from perpetual celibacy, before my wife took extended pity on me. Now that pity, her pathetic mockery of my love, is gone, and I'm that lonely boy once again. No, worse, far worse. I'm a lonely, destitute man with a dial-up internet. I called my daughter to wish her happy Valentine's Day. Actually, I called her 13 times. She never answers. I think she hates me. I hate me. On my final attempt, I left a sobbing message. This is par for the course. I can't help but wonder how many guys she has already slept with. Disturbed by where my despicable mind has taken me, I decided to power through a box of wine. Drink until I can't think thoughts, can't feel feelings. Maybe I'll die. I failed to consume the entire box. Midway through my manic guzzling, I became enraged at the thought of Malik teaching my son how to shave and drive and cuckold an unsuspecting, impotent waste of human tissue. So I ripped the wine bladder out of the bag and chucked it against the wall. The resulting wall stain strongly resembled as a hippopotamus devouring its child. This pleases me immensely. I am never painting over it unless huffing enough paint will drop me into a blissful coma, and I don't have health insurance, so my ex will be saddled with the bill and the daunting task of deciding whether or not to pull the plug as my children begin to feel a deep void for my absence and pressure her into bankruptcy just to keep me kind of sort of alive. Yeah, that'll show her. My children don't want me to die, or do they? Happy Valentine's Day.
That was awesome.
Thanks, man.
How long ago did you write that?
That was like, I want to say like 4 years ago. And I have a bunch of other stuff with it. It's probably like 15 pages now. But, you know, as you can see, it's pretty bleak. Yeah.
No, I don't necessarily think it's...
Well, I mean, he wants to terminal... in my mind, that's
honest.
What... Yeah, it's honest, yeah. So, you know,
It's honest.
I definitely want to build on it, but at the same time, it's like, how further into down the rabbit hole am I willing to go for my art, you know? That's the ultimate question.
Yeah, like, is it painful to write that? Like, or is it, what does it feel like? What's the experience of, like...
It was...
You say it's bleak, so what's the experience of writing something bleak? I saw it as very honest.
No, it was.
But honest for where you were at the time, or am I just projecting?
No,
that?
I just came up with that. I don't know where I came up with that from. I started with the idea of like, how shitty would it be to find out your wife is leaving you via Facebook, and then I'm like, okay, this guy's definitely drinking his feelings away.
So you're just what were you Were you expressing it? Like why you know?
Where did it come from?
Yeah,
I think fear. I think just the fear of that happening to me. Like I finally find somebody that I want to be with, and then something like that happens because I didn't measure.
Or fear of never finding somebody.
Yeah.
And then the fear that when you finally do, it's not the right person.
Yeah. But that would be more from her angle. If he thinks it's the right person, and slowly over the course of the story begins to realize that, wait, maybe she wasn't the right person for him. And
could you see yourself making like a continuing, like another, like writing, continuing this story?
Oh yeah, no, I have like 15, 20 pages of it, and it would be a novel, but you know,
I think we should read another one next time.
Yeah, another passage of that.
Yeah, it was. So was that the introduction, the opening?
No, it initially was, and then I added some stuff where you find out a little earlier that.
Oh, so you wrote like a prequel, almost.
Well, I got like probably 5 to 10 pages on either side of that exchange.
Does this guy have a name?
Dan. I don't have a. I guess I'm calling him Dan Mackelstein.
Do you have like an overall name for the anthology?
I don't have an overall name for it. So when I've sent it to a few friends, and I just write it as Divorce Dan. But one title I thought of, but I don't think this is very marketable. Is I Cuckold. You know, like I Claudius.
No, I don't. Explain a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one. That's like a working title. I Cuckold. It's about a cuckold who becomes just obsessed with what happened with his ex-wife.
Obsessed with being demasculated.
Yeah, it's emasculated.
It's not demasculated.
Yeah, so he's watching black on white porn. He's watching Mandingo.
Oh, hey,
yeah, he's going through Mandingo's.
Mandingo High rules.
Mandingo High debate team rules.
Fuck you, Western Falls.
And
fuck you.
He becomes obsessed with urban culture, thinking that was remotely a factor in her leaving him. But
so there's like a little bit, like there's a twinge of like social commentary to it, too, in a way. It's like,
and just the callousness of leaving people digitally before you, like you're with somebody 22 years and you just vanish digitally first before his stuff is out on the yard.
It's amazing how much. I mean, I can only speak for my own experience, but how much you can drive yourself crazy through the different social medias.
Oh, I've done that.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. You know, everything from when you like go home and like you text somebody and you're like, hey, you know, like it's like you're never home, so like, you go home, and I'm speaking about myself. I'm not gonna act like I'm speaking about some hypothetical.
Some Western High.
Yeah, so like some Western High nerd.
Nerds, so, Western High is for nerds.
So, anyways, I'm back in Mandingo Falls, hometown. And you know, it's like I get a hold of one of my older buddies, and you know, I'm like, hey, let's go grab a drink, whatever. Back for a few days. You know, I'm talking about to him beforehand. Before I get back, he's like, oh yeah, sure. Get back, text him. You know, it's the old almost everybody except very few people, besides my mom, who I text and I expect to text back from pretty quickly. Most of the time. For some reason, I do not, even though every time I'm with people and everybody I look at is always on their phone, somehow it's a little bit annoying to me. But and I really do think like we're zombies to it. But my point is that they're getting my text, they're seeing my text. So my texts are one of the texts that I think a lot of people, when they get it, they just like, I'll get to in a second or something. I'm not an while like with me, like I instantly respond to just about everybody. I just think it's considerate, and also it's like I'm on my phone, so I'm gonna. Yeah.
You're just like, no, I'm gonna put this thing away.
Yeah, but so I texted
hi into the ether.
Yeah, so I texted my buddy, and then it's the old familiar 85% of my text waiting game. afterwards. And I'm waiting, and then finally I get a text like a couple hours later. You said, sorry, I was eating. So, like, you're eating for 3 hours?
I apologize for my meal.
He's like, sorry, I was eating. That's why I didn't text you. I'm like, okay, that's a lie. Yeah. Like, in 3 hours later, whatever. I'm like, what are you up to tonight? He's like, I think I've got to hang out. I've got to go with my mom, so help my mom with something. Because, I'm like, okay, whatever. Then so I get onto Snapchat, and I'm, like, looking at Snapchat stories. And sorry, this isn't the most exciting story, but, like, I go through, and then all of a sudden, I get to my buddy's Snapchat, and he's at the bar with a bunch of my friends from high school who I would have liked to see being home, who also were aware I was home and didn't care to reach out to me. Yeah. And then they all were at the bar somewhere where there's no reason I couldn't go. So,
Did you go?
No, I didn't get invited. So, my point is, I drove myself crazy through the social media. Mm-hmm. I've driven myself crazy through it plenty of times. Snapchat's just really creepy in general.
Yeah, I don't really use that.
You can send messages and then see when the person opens them. So, it's not like it's even worse than a text message. So I'll send a message and then either A, I'll see the person open it and then not respond. I'll be like, they opened it.
I miss
or B, oh wow, they're not gonna open it.
You make a connection and then you let it breathe a bit.
Yeah, I've never had. I mean, I guess I've always had at least texting.
Since I've become more aware of my challenges and everything like that, I've been more open. But at the same time, it's like I'm more apt to turn people off because I'm like, I don't mean to, but I want to talk about problems and stuff like that. And everyone is like living their life now, and sometimes you're just not a part of it anymore, or you're not as big of a part. And that's if you naturally tend towards any type of mood disorder, like that's gonna hurt you more than other people.
Yeah, until you find the right type. You have to definitely, find a much more understanding type of person, I think.
Yeah,
or a different kind of understanding.
It takes some energy that, ironically, like sometimes you just don't have, and you have to power through that. It's challenging.
Do you think it's like almost like you need to find someone else who's depressed?
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think opposites attract to an extent, but I mean, we'll take a friend of mine who believes that your attitude is completely up to you, and you can't be with somebody like that.
No, because they're going to get frustrated with you eventually.
They're not going to understand what's really going on, and they're not going to believe it. They're not going to accept it. And that would be quote unquote your opposite. So I think in general, like everything, it's a spectrum, but I think that. Kind of people who've had some issues kind of do have to be with someone else who's had some issues. Yeah. I don't think it makes sense or works otherwise.
No, because you can be like, how do you take your medicine? Like, how's your therapy going?
You don't have to necessarily be medicated or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Whatever, but they have to really understand. It's like you're having a bad day. What do you mean? Nothing's wrong though. Nothing. You're it's nice out and we're going to the game this week. Why are you mad today? What did I do?
Yeah.
Why? What is wrong with you? No, it's just a bad day. It's one of those days I can't control. My brain can. So
had some
issues. Condoms.
I don't know why.
Because if you live with someone and you have depression, it's going to constantly come up as an issue if they don't understand it, especially, and if they don't respect it, or if they don't respect, not believe it. So, anyways, I don't know where I was really going with any of that, but just overall, the whole social media thing is terrible for your mental health.
Oh no, it destroyed me, man. I got catfish when I was younger. I experienced cyberbullying.
Catfish. I remember. Yeah, catfish. That's funny.
And then, but because I was already addicted to social media when I was younger, and this is before it was advanced and pervasive. So, imagine how bad it is now.
Yeah.
I was already having issues with it. It's hard to unplug entirely from a virtual world.
Yeah, for sure.
These days, you can't.
I mean, I was one of those guys, and I got rid of my Facebook for about a month because of a female.
Yeah.
I got rid of. I just couldn't because there was a period of time where not to really get into it too much, but I was sending texts, trying to call, trying to reach out to somebody who I had been in contact with quite a bit, and she had decided, or she was, some things were going on, or whatever, but for some circumstances I'm not going to really get into. Wasn't hearing from her, and then I would start driving myself crazy because I'd see her occasionally post on Facebook, and then I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't, so I got rid of my Facebook for a little while, and it was really, really nice. It was interesting because at first I would go to my phone and go to the Facebook.
Yeah, I got rid of my app.
And I kept going for a while.
Yeah.
For 3 days, I would go 10 to 12 times a day and do it.
Yeah.
And it was just doing it just out of habit. But after a while, I really enjoyed not looking at it. I noticed myself because that's my number one time waster for me is I just scroll through up and down through Facebook,
well,
especially when I was obsessing about this person.
What do you do that with Tinder or OkCupid or Bumble now?
No, not really.
Wow, that's impressive, man. But you like to stay busy, right, with your job and doing this now and preparing to do stand-up and sports watching and
well, I mean, I like to not stay busy, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I like to do things I really enjoy doing. Stand-up definitely is something I'm looking to pursue now, just based on my job. I'm done by about 3 p.m. every day.
Yeah.
Not many people can say that, but I am. So I can come home, smoke, eat some food, relax, take a nap, go to sleep, whatever, and then head out to a comedy club at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Be out there till 2 in the morning.
I mean,
and grind.
This is the time to try it.
And I'm single at this point, and it's I don't have a family. I don't have debt. I can't, not many people can say that, but I can, and I have a job that does pay pretty well, and I live in a place where my landlord forgets to cash my rent checks half the time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice here, too. I like it.
It's good enough. I mean,
Studio G, baby.
Yeah, I enjoy Studio G. It's a nice location.
Absolutely.
You can see the Capitol right outside there. There's a nice, dive bar Trustees down the street who's going to sponsor us at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, we need. We're still looking.
We're still looking for sponsors. If anybody wants to sponsor us,
sponsor. If you're listening,
I mean,
tweet us at Degenerate Show.
Especially MeUndies. I would love MeUndies to sponsor us. Modal. I'm a big fan.
You know about Midol?
Modal.
What Midol, though? What you know about some Midol?
Oh, I'm feeling rather bloated.
Yeah. We'll do it. I'll eat Midol.
Yeah, have I told you...
Does it come in gummy form?
Have I ever told you the story of the first time I had to buy a tampon?
Yeah.
Okay. I told that?
Yeah, you got extra flow or whatever?
I got Super Plus.
Super Plus.
Yeah.
For the wide set vaginas?
Wide set, heavy flow vaginas. Turns out that's not a compliment when you get a girl Super Plus.
You might as well get him a garbage bag at that point.
She was on the verge of tears. I couldn't believe it.
I mean,
I didn't mean to insult her. I guess it'd be like her getting me really small condoms. By the way, have you ever used okay, I have used these supposed bearskin condoms before, where it's basically it's right on your dick, and it was so tight I thought it was going to split my dick skin open. I don't know if I got a bad one or what. It's not or if you just have to have a tiny dick for it to work. And I'm not trying to even brag because I'm not, but oh my god. So so I'm fucking with this condom that's too tight on. And it really was hurting. So yeah, and then after I it was it really did almost explode when I busted.
Yeah.
And it was very, very not enjoyable the whole time. Not that having sex with a condom on is ever that enjoyable, anyways.
No.
It's
a lot harder to connect emotionally with those.
It's so much worse. The whole process is a very unromantic process.
Yeah, you're I'm hard. Okay, put it on. And it's
wait,
is it the right way?
I rolled it the wrong way again.
Give me hard again. I got another one. No, I don't have another one.
Yeah, here.
Why didn't you buy more? Cuz
blow me with the condom on. No. Have you ever?
I got one with a condom.
It's horrible.
I was visiting my cousin in college and.
Go on.
Yeah, and this girl is just blows me with a condom. And I'm so meek that I would just be like, okay. And I want to be like, I haven't even had sex before. Do you want to just like, just blow me?
Yeah, exactly. Like, can I just have some real... Yeah, like, or do you want... Like, just have sex with... I'm wearing a condom, just have sex with me. Like, that's not even sex. You know, sex with a condom should be called something else.
Yeah.
Let's come up with the name, like snowballing. With, like, what should the term be for sex with a condom?
Second place.
Oh, come on. Oh man, we'll think about that. But
bag ball, you know, you're playing a game.
Just not. It's not sex. No. It's not sex. Sex without a condom is sex when you can just like, where you can physically feel each other and you get like, even like what Wendy was talking about in her erotica, which was excellent by the way.
That was fucking awesome.
Like the contraction thing, like it's like when like it's like when you like. When you can seriously feel, it's like I can tell how turned on you are. I could feel it as you know, it was like happening. When you're talking about that with your partner, when you're really connected, that's like some shit that you can't have with a condom on.
No, I think I've had it like maybe once where I was just like, this is powerful. Once, well, twice, but with the same person. Once, where I really felt like that was a glorious experience. The rest of the time, the handful of, you know,
and there's, and I think that's
well, I was like, this is, I understand the point of this more.
Yeah, but like it's just a way different experience. Sex without a condom. What should it be called?
Yeah, I mean, besides just like second place or
Western high sex.
Western high sex.
Mandingo don't be wearing no condoms.
No, Mandingo does not.
Fuck
Do you
that
think there'd
shit.
be a condom that he'd have to use like a newspaper bag?
Do you know I know for a while in like California. Sorry that I knocked the mic over.
That's okay,
you know, for a while in California, they were trying to pass a law where all porn had to have condoms. Like they had to wear condoms.
And there's the Mandingo corollary to that law.
The Mandingo's like, fuck that shit.
You're gonna put my career out, man.
Motherfucker, gonna put my career. Man, my black voice is terrible.
Yeah.
My best friend used to be black.
Mandingo actually went to Yale.
Yeah, I forgot. Magna cum laude.
Magna cum loudly.
Much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, how much would that I know you're not a big porn watcher anymore, but like porn with if you watch and they're wearing a condom, I'm immediately changing it to the next scene. Unless it's like a really hot chick, but usually I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna watch the chick who, you know, is going to pretend that he doesn't know that he's about to... Yeah,
because on some level, on some remote level, you're watching for the dicks.
I mean, it's not like you're watching... Well, you don't watch... I don't watch a lot of porn where it's ugly dudes.
They have to be hot?
I don't want them to be ugly.
I don't think the king of queens of porn where
I've never I guess I'll say like the Ron Jeremy thing never appealed to me, even though I'm closer to looking like a Ron Jeremy than Mandingo.
You just played
I don't want to see Mandingo either. No offense, Mandingo.
But, no, we saw the Google images that was fucking
yeah,
frightening.
Thank you, Amber.
14 inches or 12 inches or something.
Literally a baby's arm holding an apple.
It's horrific.
Like just not.
Like, that's not intimidating to me as like, oh, I'm small, but because that guy is a freak of nature. Yeah, and it's great. And Mandingo, we want you on the show. I want to know what it's like to wield a widowmaker.
We'll interview the fuck out of you.
Yeah, we'll talk about everything. Your childhood.
Yeah, we'll talk about your adulthood.
Your favorite boxcar children novel.
Your neighborhood. Your favorite hoodie.
What's the most you've ever come?
Yeah. The most I've ever come. I've had some mounds. Or mounds? I don't even know.
Mounds.
I didn't notice for a while I used to eat a lot of walnuts.
Yeah.
And oh my god, I created the most frothy loads I'd ever had.
Walnut loads?
Just enormous. It turned out I think it's the vitamin E in walnuts.
Oh, I gotta slather some vitamin E on myself when I'm beating it in the shower. You ever beat in the shower and you get the dry, stringy shit afterwards?
No, I need a little more friction.
than masturbating in the shower.
Yeah, it's too lubricated.
Yeah.
It's too slippery. And it's like you're constantly having to like turn your back to avoid the like water so it doesn't erode, a little bit of soapy.
Nobody wants that.
No thanks. I've never been a shower guy.
Do you shower facing the water? I shower backwards.
I shower backwards.
Really? Are we just backwards guys?
No, I'm pretty sure I had this conversation a little while ago with some people, and it turns out I think most people shower. I don't find it enjoyable getting hit on the chest and getting it splashed into my face.
No, but I've always worried I was like this submissive showerer.
I mean, we may. I'm not the best one to ask. We're both probably fucked up. Yeah, I shower. I mean, my back shoulder blades have to be clean as fuck. Because those get the most water on them.
Your shoulders?
Yep.
You get, dry shoulders?
No, I'm just saying I stand with my back to the shower.
Yeah.
So.
You gotta wash those dry shoulders off, man.
Get the. Yeah.
So you got a go-to joke for your performance that you like to share before we roll out?
No, I'm not. I don't want to share any of my jokes or anything like that. And it's not like one of these. I'm not. For me, it's a little bit more of an observational with some humor mixed in there.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly. I don't exactly tell one-liners or things like that.
Yeah.
I go off on. I'm so far going off on pretty mundane subjects and just giving a very non-mundane look at them.
Yeah.
Just I'm trying to be a little bit relatable, but I have one that revolves around my hate of the term ice cold water. I really hate that term.
Okay.
And I think it's so I really go into that, and I kind of branch off and be like, sometimes some things kind of get to me, and I really need to relax, but and then I go off on a tangent about that a little bit, just because it really is. Think about the term ice cold water. If it's ice cold water, know what it is? Ice.
Yeah, it is.
It's water. It's not like you can say. I guess if you want, you can say ice cold Coke because Coke isn't completely water, so it has to be a little colder than.
It does, yeah.
But ice cold water,
water
means it's ice.
Yeah.
You can have ice chilled water. That's what they should be saying. You want some ice chilled water, but someone would look at you like you're. Anyways, so I go off on.
Yeah.
That's
Cool, man.
And I just need to learn how to not get too excited because when the crowd got really happy a couple of times that they did, I got way too excited, and then they're like, "Ooh,
hey, who is this guy? This guy's weird."
Yeah, I mean, they backed off. They saw it.
Did you borrow some of my manic side in that moment?
No, I think I need some of the opposite.
Yeah. I think your style is more like, hey, just draw.
I don't know. I'm figuring out my style as I go.
Yeah, any writer or performer has to figure out their style before they really.
But yeah, I definitely like it. I'm looking forward to tonight. I'm gonna fuck some shit up.
Yeah, man. I'm
excited about.
You excited about Japanese eggs?
I'm excited about Japanese eggs. I'm excited about snowballing. I'm excited about. Just excited about life. Life is pretty, crazy at times.
It is.
It's got its ups and downs, but you figure out the people who really are in your corner and
you try to stay in their corners.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
I got two closing
time.
Besides the short 2-liner Japanese eggs, please spread your legs.
Okay. And these are two more Andy originals. The A.O.
A.O. Okay. I'm crass and manipulative, and I smell like soda farts. But you love me anyway. Low self-esteem is a great equalizer. Okay, and this one got me in trouble at Temp Shop when they found this. Okay,
Your most recent Temp Shop?
Yeah, this one, yeah.
Okay.
Alright, it's called... I don't have a title for this. Alright. A man can't sit and take a shit without staring at his phone. Poop flows, butthole won't fight as he swipes right, looking for someone to bone.
Is that haiku?
No, it's just...
Oh, I thought
it was like 7 lines. I just think in poetry sometimes.
Yeah.
This is
that was rad, dude.
Was that rad? Did you like that? Did you like what I did with the poop?
I dig your digging.
The poop and the Tindering and the...
I get it. It's like society is Tinder.
Yeah, man.
And your shit.
Yeah.
It's shit.
And your shit is shit, and you can eat shit. And we all eat shit.
And that poetry was shit, so...
Exactly. Yeah, alright, bye.
Bye, Felicia.